Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to another Doubutsu Sentai Zyuohger review. We are interrupting our normal flow of things, that would be continuing on to Zyuoh Wild at this point, but I decided this was a special item and I really wanted to review it right now, since I just got it in the mail. This is the Death Galleon Genis Toy Continue Metal and Moiba Metal set. This is a Premium Bandai item sold through the Bandai Boys Toy Park Shop portion of Premium Bandai, and it went for 4,980 yen originally if you bought it straight from Japan. I had to get mine through a middleman service. I went through Okinawa Toy Seller, who is my preferred middleman for these type of exclusives. And on top of that, there was only 5,000 of these made, so it is a limited item. It comes in a very simple box, as you can see. Not much to talk about, it's just kind of there. It's got a nice Death Galleon logo on top. But without further ado, let's take a look at the actual item. So as you can see, you get 3 items inside the box. You get Genis' Toy, which is what it's called, the Continue Metal, and the Moiba Metal. So we'll take a look at the metals first. This, of course, is the Continue Metal, which is used by Naria to enlarge the Death Galleon players. So as you can see, you've got the nice, like, cracked look with the Genis cells in the middle, which is what revitalizes them. On the back, it is gold with the Death Galleon logo. Now these are, as I can see by dropping them, heavy die-cast metal. These are really solid. They're not plated metal, they are solid metal coins, which is really, really cool. And they're super hefty, which is nice. As you can see here, here is the Moiba metal, which is used to summon their foot soldiers, the Moba, which is really cool. I think it's nice and weathered, again, heavy die-cast metal. But love having these 2 coins. These are something the villains use all the time in the series, and I just like having them. It would have been enough for them to just include the Continue Metal, but the fact they include the Moiba Metal as well is just really, really cool. Having both is just awesome, especially since we don't really get villain toys for Sentai very often. This seems to be our one villain toy for the year, and I'm really glad to have it. Now, of course, you can't just sell these 2 metals by themselves. You need something for them to work with to make it a little bit more interesting. They could have just sold the 2 metals by themselves for a ridiculous amount of money, but they decided to include this, which is known as Genis' Toy for Master Genis. As you can see, you got a coin slot here, very reminiscent of what is on each Death Galleon Blood game player. So you got the coin slot. You got 2 buttons. On this side, it's just kind of a blank design, and the Death Galleon logo there. On the bottom, you have the lid for the coin slot, and then the batteries. It takes 2 AAAs, on-off switch, speaker, and it kind of raises itself off the ground a little bit with these little feet, so you can hear the sounds. Now, it does remind me of the ships, if you especially put it this way. It reminds me of the Death Galleon ships that fly into battle. I think that's what it's supposed to be reminiscent of. It's a pyramid, not a cube, which is contradiction to the Zyuohgers. So to turn it on, we just flip the switch here. You hear the metal clanging sound. And basically, if you press this button, you get sounds of the Death Galleons, and this button is voice clips of Genis. Now, I don't think the voice clips of Genis are as exciting, so we'll start with that. Basically, you press this, and it cycles through the sounds. So it's really cool having Genis' smooth, calm voice inside this thing. He's one of the most interesting villains because of how calm he is, and I'm glad to have it. Now, if you insert a metal while it's in this mode, he laughs. So he does say a couple phrases there when you insert the metals. And to get them out of there, you just flip this down. So pressing this button over here will start activating sounds of each of the Death Galleon generals, Kubal, Ozald, and Genis, asking Naria for a continue, and then her revitalizing any Death Galleon players. So pressing it will cycle through the sounds, and then you can insert the metal at the appropriate time.
奴らも考えましたね。ナリア、コンティニューを。
So we got Kubal there.
仕方ありませんね。コンティニューです。ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
さあ、もっと悲鳴を響かせたまえ。
And then basically releasing this down here. We'll just leave the cover off so we can just insert the coin without having to remove the cover each time. There's Azald.
はい。ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
さあ、もっと悲鳴を響かせたまえ。はい、ナビア、コンティニューだ。
はい。ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
ブラッドゲーム。勝利の条件は私を最も楽しませること。まだです。ナリア、コンティニューを。
はい。ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
さあ、もっと悲鳴を響かせたまえ。
So I do want to point out, you don't have to insert the coin at all. Actually, you can just keep pressing the button to cycle through the sounds, and it'll throw the coin noise in there.
はい、ナビア、コンティニューだ。
仕方ありませんね。コンティニューです。ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
ブラッドゲーム。勝利の条件は私を最も楽しませること。しくじったか。ナリア、コンティニューだ。
仕方ありませんね。コンティニューです。ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
さあ、もっと悲鳴を響かせたまえ。おう、これは興味深い。ナリア、コンティニューだ。
承知いたしました。ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
ブラッドゲーム。勝利の条件は私を最も楽しませること。
And I think that's all the sounds that are inside this little pyramid. It's really cool having the voices of the villains, especially since most of the characterization for villains in Sentai is the vocal performances. The suit actors are one part of it, but what brings them to life is the vocal performance, which is where a lot of Power Rangers monsters fall flat. So it's really cool to have something as a tribute to those voice actors that have voiced the villains the whole time. If only we could get like a toy with Bongara's voice, it'd be really cool. But basically, really, really cool. I love how detailed the sounds are. It has Naria, it has her little speech about being revitalized with Genis' cells. You can even hear her kissing the metal before putting it in. It's got all the sound effects. It sounds like the villains are like right there inside of that thing making evil plans. It's really cool. Now there's one final set of sound effects, and that is to go with the Moiba metal. And you just need to hold down this button.
私の見たいものは分かっているね。
And there you go. And then Genis says it's game over. Overall, this thing is just packed with sounds. There's a lot of vocal clips. For those that don't speak Japanese, a little bit is lost because you're not exactly sure what they're saying. I do enjoy listening to just the voices on their own because I recognize the characters from the show. This is definitely not something you pick up if you've never seen Zyuohger and or don't like the villains. This is definitely, if you really like the villains, this is the toy to get. It kind of is a nice little supplemental to the Zyuohger line, not a complete necessity. It is for those of you out there that like the villains, want the medals, and want a cool toy that goes with it that plays a bunch of sound effects of the villains talking. I think it's really neat. I love this new tradition that Sentai has where there's a new Premium Bandai item every year dedicated to the villains. We've gotten like the Day Boss Judenshi for Kyoryuger, and then we had the Karainer Robo for Tokyuger. Ninja had the Yokai Hammer, and I believe another Shuriken as well. And then now Zyuohger has the Genis toy Continue Metal and Moiba Metal set. Definitely on the lookout for it. It's probably not going to go for too cheap, as it was limited, but I say take a look around. Really cool. Definitely worth it. I've been waiting months for this to come out. I pre-ordered it a long time ago, and I'm really happy. My only real complaint with this set is the sound effects are kind of quiet, much like the Zyuo Changer and the Zyuo the Light, which I haven't reviewed Zyuo the Light yet. Whoops. The sound effects are a little quiet. I feel like it could have been a bit louder. It is more muffled when you have it sitting down flat on a table. I lifted it up so we could hear it better for the video, but pretty much it's the only complaint I have with all the Zyuohger roleplay electronic items is that the sound effects are kind of quiet. I'm liking that a little bit more than some past roleplay items from Bandai that have pierced my ears with how loud they are, so it's a nice little balance, but really cool. Definitely recommended for fans of Zyuohger and the Death Galleons. And stay tuned, as my next Zyuohger review will be Zyuo Wild. Till next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.